Greetings, fellow cruisers. This is Jeff from Enjoy Life Traveling. Today I'm going to be showing you Grandeur of the Seas, a ship tour. If I sound a little rough there, I'm also a little bit hoarse. I got a little cold going on. Anyway, this is level 1, and this is, notice that where we are at, if you are looking to get off the ship, this is the only side that's going to have that, the side with the medical facility. The other side I'm going to show you in a little bit. You can go down, but it is crew only, so this is the only side that you can get off of the ship. And I'm also trying to show you really kind of everything, so I'll be stopping, look at the ship. I'll be trying to show you a little bit of the artwork. I just thought there was more to show you here than just a general walkthrough. The ship, personally, I thought was absolutely beautiful. I kind of like the smaller ships, and really when you compare this to like the Titanic, it's like close to twice the size. It's much bigger. So it's funny when we compare it to, things nowadays, it may seem small, but for me, I really liked it. I thought it was very intimate. You got to pass people that you saw pretty much all the time. And if you're going solo, quite honestly, I really loved this because I was traveling on this one solo, and it really allowed me to meet people. But it still had stuff like this here to where you could have a touch screen, and it was modern enough to see your way through and find everything. But honestly, you really couldn't get lost here because, again, the ship's not that big, but as far as I'm concerned, it's got everything that you need. So again, when I come through here now on level 2, there are, all your elevators, the elevator banks here in front. There's kind of both sides of it, and one side will go a higher level than the other side will. But you kind of have to watch it when you're pushing your buttons there to see which side's going to open, because those are the quietest elevators ever, and I got burned a few times trying to get somewhere, and the elevator would open and close behind me before I ever even got to get on the elevator. So I'm going to jump real quick to the other side of level 2 just so I can show you what I was seeing. This was actually where you go down. Again, it was always blocked off, and it clearly is not finished. So this, again, was where the crew was. Unfortunately, I was also staying on that end in level 2, so I was able to have to walk across every time I wanted to go to. But again, the ship's not huge. So anyway, this is continuing going up the stairs here to level 3. So again, you can just kind of get a look. There are, it holds 27,000 passengers, roughly speaking. And so there's, without having all the amenities and not being a big ship, not every section that you were in had something to do. It was really sectioned off to where you would have a lot of cabins. But on the main level, actually, there was a little of everything. You had to walk out of your cabin and then walk down, which is what I did. I'd go up to like 4 or 5, and depending, that'd be where the casino was, the food was, or the theater was. But you still had some cabins to go through, depending on how you went about that. So anyway, level 4, this is one of the main levels here. The dining is in here, and it was a very nice dining room. It was not as obviously as huge as some of the other ones that you've seen in these other ships. They did a great job. All the food was basically the same thing on each night that what you've seen in other places, and everything was prepared roughly the same. So I really appreciate that. But what I really like about Grandeur of the Seas is that it can get into ports and goes to ports that other places just don't go to. So I hadn't been to St. Kitts. This went to St. Kitts. I haven't been to Dominica. This went to Dominica. So it was really nice in that it went to some other places that I hadn't been to before. And being a small ship, that it worked out for me to go to. So anyway, this here is your Centrum. It seemed a little wider than the Radiance class here, even though the ship I know isn't wider, but it felt that way, the way it was cut. So the top areas here, or I guess I should really say the side areas, now those are used as areas to where there's something, a bar or whatever, whereas it's really just general seating on the sides on most of these. So that's how they utilized it, rather than, they gave you the floor to dance on or watch the shows than having the stuff that's on the side so much. And really, I think it worked out pretty good, again, because you don't have quite as many people, on the ship to go with there. So it's got the bar there, the band plays. They do a lot of functions, obviously, right here. And then much like the Radiance class, as you go up the ship, that's also open, so you can see what's going on and do your own thing up there, dance or whatever you want to do. But it's mostly seating, but there's a way to watch what's going on without being in the main tier. And some people really like that. They were definitely used quite a bit for those people who don't want to get out there and dance, or maybe want to have a better view without having people in front of them dancing. I wish I'd had maybe a little more as far as bars go up there, but regardless, again, I loved the experience. It's got your basic restaurants here, and I say basic not in a bad way. I just mean that the ones you come to expect. It's going to have your Chops Grill, it's got Izumi, and it's got, I believe, the Italian place. But it's also got, obviously, the main dining room. There wasn't a whole lot of extra stuff as far as the free foods go, other free venues go. The solarium, they have the area in the solarium. The hours were a little bit odd, but it worked out okay. And the solarium is definitely a different feel than some of the other ones. It isn't quite as elegant. It isn't bad. I don't mean it in that fashion, but the Radiance class I just thought was done as good as you could do the solarium of any of the ones I've been on. So I would, if you're into the solarium, this would be worthwhile for you for sure. So again, this is other dining. The next level, there's nothing to see there. I didn't bother opening the doors, although I certainly could have. But in walking through here, and I will show you, I know I haven't done this in some other ships, but I'm going to show you a little later. I walked around here to give you an outside view as to what's going on, so I will get back to that. So again, as you can see here on the side is more seating, whereas in a lot of places that was actually a bar. They would have a bar there and some seating, but instead they kept that width. And if I kind of liked, again, having at least a place up there to get a drink from. Up here was guest services, and you could get a drink. As you can see, you probably see from here, the casino's straight ahead, and certainly you can get a drink at the casino. I just kind of liked having that R bar that some of the other ones have. And this one, the R bar is the Centrum bar. So, it's not quite the same, but close enough. So besides customer service, this is also your excursions desk that was back there. And there is a casino tour out there, but I'm just going to breeze through the casino. So it's not part of the casino. The tour, you'll have to just go watch that video if you want to see the casino as a whole. That is already out there. But again, it was a nice little casino. It was a little tight in some spots, as you probably would expect. But I would love, as a matter of fact, I would love to go again, but I am going to go again. I'm going to go back in next year with my wife, so I'm looking forward to that. Cashier's desk, if you're looking to get tips, tip money, you can do that there. But customer service will usually give you a little bit more. They're a little bit restrictive there as far as, so they don't have to run out of ones. So it's probably easier to get them from customer service if you're looking to get tip money, whether you're trying to do it for excursions or just within the bar, for drinks or whatever you're going to tip for. So anyway, this is going to show you again, besides obviously being able to get off of the show or get outside, this is also where the theater is at. I'll just give you a quick peek in here. I didn't go crazy here. I just kind of wanted to show you, yeah, there's a theater in there, and that's what it looks like. But we'll get turned around and back on track. You'll notice a lot of people look at, say, like the carpet and go, well, it's outdated. Really, this is generally the carpet kind of thing that they're going to do for any of the ships. They're going to have that pattern to it, so if something's spilled, it kind of blends in and it isn't as obvious. If it was, a carpet that was just a flat color, every time something got spilled on it, it would leave a mark. I mean, it would be just a disaster trying to keep it clean, even with the best carpet on it. So that's why you see the carpets the way they are, and they'll have that more elegant look, but a lot of people will look at elegance and see it as dated. I kind of get it, but I loved the ship. Now, you're talking about a ship that was built in 1996. So it's almost 30 years old. And if you want to, look at things negative, you can say it's outdated, or you can say it's worn down, or you can say it's aged well. Is there going to be rust in the ship? Of course there's going to be rust in the ship. This thing is at sea constantly, and it's constantly got the salt water beating on it, and the doors open and closing, and the sun. And the refurbishment, they don't just rebuild the entire ship. It'll be certain areas, even though they're spending a fortune to refurbish certain areas. So when you're picking this ship, understand that there's going to be places that need paint, that the windows are fogged easier, or that they when it's been resealed, it's not this perfect aesthetic resealed job on it. But you're gonna have some rust on it. If I'm seeing rust, it does not affect my time. I'm gonna have a good time. The only way it affects someone is if they decide it's going to affect them. Anyway, I'll get off the tangent. As you can see, it's got a shopping area despite being a smaller ship. There's some deals to be had on here. But a lot of times, a lot of the shirts that I want, I might want it as a keepsake because it would say Royal Caribbean. But like the cheap shirts, the ones that are like, 2 for $30, those don't usually have the Royal Caribbean logo on it. They're just generic shirts you could buy anywhere. So keep that in mind when you're looking for shirts. The other thing I'd tell you to keep in mind here is that there's an Effie store. Normally, I would say Effie is a place to go, and it is. But just know that Effie is also starting to get into carrying some other people's merchandise that is not their own. So make sure that you check on what you're buying for. I'm just going to add it there and leave that alone. But again, overall, the ship, there's nothing to worry about. It is very easy to navigate. It is very easy to just see everything and not get lost. So I would not worry about that. When it comes to booking, I would tell you that if you're new to cruising, unless you're just heaven set on getting those mega ships, I would tell you to start small, whether it be this one or Radiance class. I would not start my first cruise anything other than the Voyager class, which is what I did, and I didn't know better. And the reason I say that is because of what the ships have to offer. If you start out on, say, an Oasis class or something like that, there is so much to be overwhelmed with doing that when you get on a ship that's smaller. You're trying to compare it and you go, well, there's nothing to do, where you just really haven't learned how to enjoy this class of ship and then appreciate the bigger stuff that's come after that. So just, again, kind of keep that in mind. There is a kids area, and kind of the same way with the kids. If you start them with the big and come down to this, they're going to be shocked. All right, this is your schooner bar. Pretty much every Royal Caribbean ship has a schooner bar on there. This is the oldest ship in the fleet, and you can kind of see, while it has a nautical theme, it is not nearly as pronounced. It is more long than it is wide, but there's still plenty of room. I love what the Radiance class did with this in making it a bit bigger, but still keeping the width. It's got length and width, but this was still nice for the amount of people that it had, and it really wasn't overly crowded. It would be crowded, but not crazy. Down here is actually one of the specialty restaurants and the bathrooms. If you're at the schooner bar, or if you were at the lounge, the bathroom that you would be using is right here. I just took a quick peek in here so you can kind of see what it looks like. It's not overly fancy, but it does the job. And again, there's the bathrooms. The schooner bar itself, the bar was fairly small, but they did okay as far as getting service. That was really probably the strength of this ship, is that there was really good service the entire time, no matter where you were. It seemed like they did a really good job of looking out and getting people served. Right over here, there's just another small bar. A lot of times the servers actually have their own area that they go to. And so sometimes you might order a drink and say, you ask for a certain alcohol, and the bar might be out of it. But if you ask a server, they've got it because they're going to a different bar, which their bar is actually just kind of right around the corner here to the right there, where you can see the partition is at. I guess if there was one complaint, I would say, is that the servers, when they were in this lounge, if you were kind of to the left where you couldn't see it, they could see out because they would just kind of stand there against the wall waiting for someone to like raise their hand. But if you were to the left, they didn't often see you. So it wasn't the best place to sit. This is the Crown and Anchor Lounge here, the lounge where if you got the Diamond status or above, you could go in here. They did a nice job. It's not huge, but I mean, they've got some real nice shrimp going here and chicken kebabs. It's a nice extra and a great view. So if you have that extra status, you do get a little bit of a pampered feeling there, and I appreciate that. It was funny, I got there just like a second before they had opened, and he was like, oh yeah, you can get food in just a couple minutes. And then by the time I turned the camera back on, he was like, oh, you can get it now. I'm like, no, forget it. I gotta go film some stuff. really not a big deal at all. Anyway, the area that you're looking at here, this lounge, this is a heavily used area where most of the stuff is at, other than the Centrum. Those are your two big areas where functions happen. I didn't really notice any major functions going on at the nightclub area, which we'll get to. The views were beautiful up there, but it was probably underutilized from what it could have been done. But again, I guess maybe space and the way it's looking, maybe it just didn't work logistically there. So as we walk through here, again, you can kind of see this is your elevator bank to where you got both sides, and as you may have noticed, your stairwell was behind that. So you kind of got some choices there, but again, that stairwell was probably worth it for short trips versus trying to get on the elevator where there were more people. So if you got a floor or two to go, even 3, you might consider doing that versus waiting for the elevator. This is your art area, obviously. And besides the art area, it is also where they have their coffee shop. The Cafe Latitudes is just to my left. And that was busy quite a bit. You could find a slower time, and it was usually like where I'm at now, to where the ship, people are off the ship, and I'm trying to just do the filming to where there's a minimal amount of people there to actually see what's going on. So I know it's not a great shot to see some of the prices, but that's on there if you don't have the drink package. I was really surprised. At one point, I really didn't think. I was like, why do they put art on there? People don't really buy art, do they? And then I learned, no, they actually do quite a bit. I had met a lady when I was on Brilliance, and her husband, they bought like 5 pieces, and those are obviously not cheap, and had them shipped back. So, yeah, it's obviously very lucrative. It's interesting, but a lot of the stuff you see is stuff you see from ship to ship. So if you miss a piece, at least in my view, you have a great chance of getting something like that, or very, very, very similar on the next selling that you got. So again, I'm kind of cutting through here to show you some of the things you can buy again. But I just wanted you to get a look at some of the shops inside that I didn't really get to. So you got some medicine here. If you smoke, you got some cigarettes. You can get your alcohol. The alcohol is the same here as it is on the other ship, in that you're going to get that at the end of the cruise. You're not going to be able to drink it on the cruise. The only thing you can bring on this ship is the same as the others, to where you can bring a bottle of wine per adult on the stateroom. So it just is what it is. I did get a quick shot of that price there. So if you're looking to buy it, sometimes you have the duty free, but if it's a higher price than what you normally would get, then it doesn't really matter. So I would tell you to definitely take a look at the prices and make sure that you know what you're buying before you get something duty free and find out it costs you more. Sometimes it's a deal, sometimes it's not. I wouldn't just assume it for sure. As we come through here, as you can see, there's a lot of statues here. I've found that to be very much the case. It was fun when I was hiding ducks. I'm going to probably be putting out a video real soon about that experience with ducks, so I kind of hope that you're interested in it. But the big artwork and having a lot of like I said, the big statues and such made duck hiding pretty fun. There was plenty of places to hide ducks on this ship, and I did that. What I did was, on this one, I hid 10 ducks. So if you happen to have found one, you can drop it in here and let me know. But also, I'm going to try to put something out about the ducks soon enough. So hopefully you can let me know one way or the other if you happen to find one. I thought it might be a kind of a fun thing to do. And I would really like to hear your feedback, and I mean that genuinely. I bought, I want to say 40 or 50 ducks. I thought for these next few cruises I would hide some and maybe put a card on there as to what my channel is, so you'd have a chance to hopefully maybe send me some information if you wanted to have a little video, if you had someone that was excited to get it. I could maybe even put that as a part of a video down the road. So just looking for some fun. A lot of the stairs here they're the decks, I should say. There was nothing going on. It was just staterooms. So I just kind of kept going. So you're not really missing anything. I'm just not going to bother walking down a hall of stateroom doors. I don't think you want to see that. Again, this is a Vision class ship. It was refurbished in 2012, so it's still 13 years away from its refurbishing. And I think I said earlier it was 2,700 people. It's actually about a little over 2,400 people that this ship holds. The gross tonnage of this ship is 73,823, whereas the Titanic was, I believe, 46 and some change. So I say double, probably not quite double. Okay, it's not quite double. But I'm just saying it's significantly bigger than what the Titanic was. So when you're looking at that, keep that in mind. This area here is obviously your pool deck. It's also where your windjammer is at. It's where the ice cream is at. I caught the windjammer actually when it was closed. It's fine, but it really wasn't big enough. There were times where there was a line just to get into the windjammer, and so that makes it kind of difficult if you got to wait in line to get into the area to begin with. So if you go in during those main hours, keep that in mind. I actually ended up just going over downstairs and going to the main dining room, and there was less of a wait there than it was actually going to the buffet instead. So, and something to keep in mind. Ice cream, I abused that area. I had way too many ice creams on this cruise. You've got your pool bar. It does not have the bar on top. You know that's the next class up does, the Sky Bar. I love the Sky Bar because it's such an easy way to meet people. So this didn't have that, unfortunately, but again, it's a lovely ship. As you can see, it's not real wide, and the pool area is not gigantic, but it just seemed like for the amount of people, it was good enough. It seemed to work really just fine, and they were able to hold the same events for the pool area that they would any place else. So, the world's sexiest man thing, the belly flop that they normally have here, that all went on. No problems at all, and still fun. But it really, even with the chairs were not a big problem here. It seemed like there was usually some spots available. And really, again, if you are going to spend your time in the pool, you don't need a chair up front. If you're going to read a book, you don't need a chair right up front. So kind of keep that in mind when you are looking to get a chair and what you're going to do. So if you're watching your kids, then maybe you need a chair up front. So keep that in mind when you're trying to pick out your chairs. And I think that it makes cruising a lot easier rather than to fight for chairs and that kind of thing. So they did have your ping pong here. It was a little bit odd because those windows open, and so if you're at the wrong angle, that wind gust can affect the ball pretty good. But again, fun, and it's something that obviously hasn't been fixed until you get to some of the newer ships that they actually realize they should probably block that off a little bit. So we are heading into the solarium area. This is the adults only area. But there were some kids because there is the food that's back here. And so kids would go back there to get the food with the parents. And sometimes, if they're sitting and eating, even though technically they're not supposed to be, you would sometimes see some kids in here, not necessarily with the pool or anything like that, but just from a noise standpoint, if you're trying to get away, there's a lot less kids on this ship. Let me put that out there. So do not, I say that, but put no sense of worry into what I'm talking about as far as kids. I'm just mentioning that they will sometimes sit in there and no one's going to really say a whole lot. Again, you got your place to get your coffee back here, and then as you come up towards the back, you got your pizza that's over here. The hours were a little bit odd, I thought. They also did some hot dogs over here, which I can't recall seeing one of these that actually did hot dogs, but it was only like during snack time. You couldn't get it for like lunch. I don't know why. But again, it's fine. It did the job. Got a place to get your ice, your drinks. Had a little buffet thing kind of here. I never saw that thing open, so I don't know. But plenty of tables and such to sit. I never had a problem trying to find a place to sit to eat. Maybe I just got lucky. I don't know. But I like to go to this place here and get pizza, particularly at some of the odd hours. But and even on some of these other trips, I'll just go ahead and use that as lunch when I'm able to, because, again, the hours were a little bit wonky. Your Vitality Spa is back here. I don't do spa stuff, but it's back here if you want to look at it. On a recent sailing, my wife tried using this here, and I was going to try to get some footage of it, but without getting into showing anything on that just yet, it was, as far as we were concerned, rather uninspiring, because it really seemed like it was just a play for more money and how can I upsell you rather than a relaxing experience. So again, pool here in the solarium, good size. They've got the hot tubs over here. Well done. I appreciated the way everything looked. Everything was taken care of. Again, when you look at the styles of it, some people might look at it and say it's outdated. But I really enjoyed it. Over the Radiance class, this did not have that same elegant feeling that the Radiance ships have that are just a tick larger than what these ships are. Nothing wrong with it, but again, just my opinion. I like that they had plenty of light to go through there. The bartenders did a good job, but on this area here, they didn't have the food really close. Like I said, it was really on the other side, whereas a lot of the newer ships, well, certainly Radiance class ships, it's just kind of like on the other side of the hot tub or pool to get that. So this was like catty corner. You had to walk there a bit. All right, so your towel stations, you can see all this kind of stuff. But this is where you would go for that, whether you're using the solarium or you're using the pool out here. There wasn't two separate ones, at least when I was on the ship. So that's where you're going to go for that. I'm going to go ahead and go up some stairs here and let you get a look at what this is like here. Again, great place to go to get a view. And I felt it was very underutilized, particularly in certain pockets. So if you're looking to get away from people, and again, this isn't an overly busy ship, but there were plenty of opportunities to have your own space, just by yourself, away from everybody. And I appreciated that, and I passed a few people that you could tell also appreciated that. As you can see, this is a dedicated walking, jogging track. While I will show you in a little while the outside of, I think it's deck 4, is it 4 or 5? I'm going to show you that. That's not a walking track, that is a viewing area. So this is actually where you're going to get your exercise in. There's a lady enjoying some peace and quiet. So again, there's all these chairs here that are just underutilized. And if you have your situation set up to where you've got everything you need, you can get away from everyone. So if I'm going to have drinks with me, I can bring my own tumbler, and I'll get a bigger one so I can get a couple of drinks, fill the tumbler up, and then I can just go relax for a while without worrying about running out of drink and trying to find a bar. I realize I say that, and the first thing you might think is, well, they're only going to give you one drink at a time per bar. So, if you get a drink at the bar and then you just walk around to the next bar and you get a drink, covered. If the waiter's there and you're sitting and you're getting ready to move, you get a drink from him. Then you walk to the bar, get a drink, fill your tumbler up, and then move on to wherever you're going to go. If you've got drinks with you that are your soda that you brought on board, sometimes I'll bring a collapsible cooler. You can get ice. They'll put ice on there for you. It doesn't cost anything. So you can have those drinks with you. I even got the plastic caps. So if I order a drink and they open it and I don't want it opened, I can put a cap on that, and it's super cheap. So it kind of gets me through to be able to move my stuff and drink it when I want to drink it. Just a few tips to keep in mind from someone who I consider myself pretty much a veteran cruiser. I think this is now, I think I've done 25, I want to say, in about 2.5 years. So, I just really love it, and I'm thrilled to be able to do something on YouTube and show you all the great things that I get to see here. Again, your walking track goes around through here. This is all a beautiful view. I really appreciate it. The weather we had here, and this is, I want to say, I believe February, February, if that sounds right. The weather was great towards the end of February. This was it was middle February, 20th to the 30th, I think. Not the 30th, it's February, 20th to the 28th. So, again, the more people here to where, again, they've got their own space, 2 people, nobody near them. Even with having some of the games they've got outside, they were completely secluded. So if you are looking for a ship to where you can meet people, this is a great ship. If you are looking for a place to have some quiet alone time, whether by yourself or with your significant other, this is still a great ship for that. If you've got kids, it's probably isn't the optimal ship, but it would not deter me if it was their first time to be able to enjoy the ship. Again, it's just that comparison piece. If they've been on the bigger ships, this isn't going to make any sense to them. That is your rock climbing wall. The first rock climbing wall, I believe, came on Voyager of the Seas, and it was so popular, they went back and retrofitted all of the other ships with a rock climbing wall. So if you're into the rock climbing experience, that will not let you down. All right, so I'm going to go into the gym. This is an area that I only visit pretty much when I do a tour. I keep telling myself that, when I'm doing all these videos, I'm going to get in here and I'm going to work out and just try to spend whatever that time is, 15, 20 minutes, an hour. And I'll do that. And then I end up not doing that. I just don't do it. But it had plenty of equipment. I didn't hear anybody complain about the size of the gym. This is obviously a smaller gym than some of the others, but again, it's a smaller ship. And having 2,400 people and the few kids that aren't going to do anything with it. Most of the adults are not here for this. So I think really most of the gyms for any of the class ships is not much of a problem as far as your workout equipment. So if you're looking to do this, it's free, it's included. So go ahead and enjoy yourself. Get out here. You got some shuffleboard. I think you probably saw that when I was walking earlier, but just to bring it up, and there'll be a spots here to the left where you can get all your stuff. Sometimes it'll be in a cabinet, sometimes it won't, depending on the ship that you're on. But the stuff is out there, so you don't have to really hunt for it. Just look to the side if you don't see it right away. Whatever cabinet's there, that's the one. The ship is 12 decks tall, but actually 11 of them will have cabins on it. So just comparatively speaking, when I'm showing you some of the stuff here, it's cabin, but it's not as wide as most of the other ships. But really, as far as the cabin size goes, and I do have a video out for the interior cabin that I used, I was completely pleased with what I had there. I did not feel it was too small. It felt very standard to what I was used to in most of the other ships. Matter of fact, it may even been a little bit bigger than one of the cruises when I was on Wonder one time. That was just, I was shocked as to how small I say Wonder, I'm sorry, Utopia. I was shocked as to how small that room was for a mega ship like that. So there are some differences on there. Don't necessarily assume that you're going to get a bigger room, because that's not always the case. This ship to this point really does Eastern Caribbean, Western Caribbean, and Southern Caribbean cruises. So it's not one that, at least that I can tell, goes overseas a lot, although obviously Royal Caribbean can change that whenever they want to. Now that I'm thinking about it, I believe this went through a refurbishment in 2017, I believe it was. So it has some updates. I don't want to have you think that it's been forever. But this is the oldest and the smallest ship that Royal Caribbean offers. But again, I would not use that and hold it against them. I really loved it. If you like that kind of thing, like I do, to where you want the opportunity to have some intimacy, or you want to meet people, this really offers both. Really, it'd be only for families, or if you're looking to party crazy, this is probably not the ship. You could party anywhere, and you're going to be able to have a good time. Don't get me wrong. They're going to have the same pool parties and dancing, and they'll have Centrum dancing and all that kind of stuff. But it's not the crazy party that, say, like a Utopia of the Seas is, or nowadays even Allure of the Seas that's doing the shorter trips. That's kind of starting to turn a little bit more into the party cruise, despite also having the Broadway shows that Utopia does not. This does have Broadway style type shows, but it's more, there's a whole lot less as far as your storyline. But as far as the musical talent and the productions that they've put together on their own, I think they do a great job. I wanted to show you this here because it's really kind of a hidden gem, I think. This little upper area was completely underutilized. And again, if you can set yourself up and get your drink situation covered, this is a great spot to relax and be pretty close to by yourself almost every time. Or if you're trying to get a group together to meet somewhere, this may also be something that you want to consider. It's high up. It's a great place to go for sail away. Again, if you've already got your drink, because you're not going to see people coming around here to get drinks or to ask for your order. Not that it can't happen, but it is not it's off the beaten path enough that I doubt you're going to see anybody up here. I hadn't been served up here, but again, I thought the area was really a nice, quiet area to relax and enjoy everything that's going on as far as like the seas goes, or if you're trying to relax, or if you get a book, or you're listening on your headphones. By all means, this consider this spot. Do not bring your Bluetooth speakers because, well, first of all, the ships are really steering clear of those nowadays. But also, just as a common courtesy, if you can imagine, if you're not into a certain genre of music and the person next to you is listening to their music, even if it's on a quieter level, it can still drive you nuts if you don't like that kind of music. So just as a courtesy, I would strongly recommend leave your Bluetooth at home. As far as the speakers that do not go into your ears, but if you've got earbuds or headphones, yeah, by all means, enjoy yourself. It's the way to go. So again, as I'm walking through here, I am going to show you the bottom area here in just a moment. I was just trying to do the best I can to give you that full look of the ship so you could see everything, and also be able to give you some insight about the ship itself, fun facts, and really who the ship is for, because an assumption of, well, it's a ship and that'll be fine. It's the same way with excursions. If you've seen me do the Cozumel stuff, there's a beach club for each type of person. If you go in there and someone says, oh, go to this place or go to that place, and you may have a great time, it may really not have been the best place you could have went and had a better time. Real quick, here's your arcade. I thought this was going to be bigger than it was. When I was in here, I was talking to him, and I said, oh, yeah, the arcade is good size. And then I realized it was not all the arcade as I'm going through here. This area jumps straight into a pool table that I thought was a part of it. I'm like, oh, that's nice and spacious. That's the teen area. So it's not, it wasn't open for me. This little area here is the games. There's not much. I'll turn around so you can see it. This is not very roomy at all. Again, not trying to complain. I'm just saying that it's not real big. So if you're getting the passes to play a bunch of games, there's not a lot here. A lot of claw games and such like that. Very few, video games that you would typically think of. So I would have a tough time spending my money on the arcade here for even $50. I don't know that I could entertain myself. I don't know that a kid could entertain themselves very long in this arcade. Again, that's it. That's what you got. So as I'm walking through here, I'm thinking, oh, well, it's got to have a pool table. And so I start walking. I'm like, oh, wow, this is nice. A pool table. They got foosball. And then I was talking to the lady over here, and she's like, no, this is the teen area. You can't come in here. So, okay. So I got a quick peek at the teen area anyway. You can kind of saw her hand. And I'm like, uh-oh, sorry. Luckily, there was nobody in there. But anyway, there's not enough games in here to entertain any teenager. There's the claw games and the little key things. I would not pay money. Don't do it. Just don't do it. I couldn't possibly tell you enough not to. That is for the younger kids there. Obviously, I didn't go in. I try to show some respect there and remove kids as much as I could. These doors were really kind of weird because it was whatever side you were closest to was the side that opened. So I don't know. I don't know why they did that, but it was fine. I would think that'd be hard to keep those rooms warm on a colder day. And don't assume that because you're in the Caribbean that it's going to be warm. I've done too many times in the wintertime the Bahamas, and the Bahamas just simply don't get warm enough to enjoy the pool. It doesn't get enough to enjoy the ocean. And I say that, obviously, it depends on the sailings. I'm just saying you can't count on it. You don't just assume, I'm going to the Bahamas and therefore it's warm. The pool, if you're going anywhere, at least for me anyway, from November to March-ish, you're probably not going to want to get in the pools. The kids, the little ones, they don't care. But adults, I've done this a lot, and they don't get in because it's just too cold. It's hot tubs, and on some of the smaller ships here, the hot tubs are smaller too. Luckily, there's less people, but they can really fill up. So something to keep in mind if that's what you're looking for. You may have to pick your times as to when you're going to get in the hot tub because, those peak moments there, everybody's trying to get in. There just ain't going to be enough spots. So as we come up here, I'm going to go ahead and go up a level here, and I'll be showing you the nightclub and also Azumi's up here. I'm not going to really get into Azumi when I was there. The restaurant was opened, and I didn't want to go up and then start filming people while they're trying to eat out of respect. I think you get it. It's a Japanese restaurant, going to have that kind of stuff. But you're going to want to take the stairs to get up there. And so there may be some mobility issues. As best I could tell, there was not an elevator that went up here. Certainly correct me if I'm wrong, if somebody knows better, but I didn't see it. I didn't see a way to do Azumi unless you were climbing stairs. And as you come out here, look at the signs here. You come up these steps, and to the left here, going up those steps, is Azumi. That's on the highest level there. And then you come down over here, and up top is still Azumi, so it's open air from this area over. Now, when this is a nightclub, there's nobody going to be in Azumi, so you're not going to get Azumis and then have crazy music going. Again, just to let you know, the concierge area here, the bar was open at some odder times, I thought, but it did fine. I got a kick out of it because the DJ on this ship really spent a lot of time playing music from the 80s and 90s. But what I thought was interesting is that when I was up there, and it was a couple times, I go up there and I might finish my drinks, like my last one or two drinks, I'll go up there, see what it's like, just for the experience. And the people are there, the few younger adults, they'll tend to go there. And so they're playing these 80s and 90s music, and they're dancing, and there's maybe, 15 of them, 20 of them. And then I go up there with my grayness, in my beard, and they're dancing to this music, and they kind of make me feel like I'm out of place. But they're dancing to my music what I grew up on. I knew the words to all this stuff. I knew the dances that went with them. And so it was kind of funny to be watching them dance to stuff that was like, do you realize this is 80s? I know this song better than you. Anyway, I'm off on a tangent. This is obviously the bottom deck. I think it's deck 4. And there's plenty of places here to sit. I will tell you, I guess one of the minor frustrations I had, and I've seen this on another ship as well, is it seems like on like the last day of the cruise, a lot of times I would want to go relax and just chill out and enjoy my last day in peace. But they pick up all the chairs. And so all the chairs were put up. I guess they could wash the deck later. But it was like, 8:30 or so. And so I kind of thought that was a mistake on their part. But again, it's the last day of the cruise. I can find other stuff. But if you're looking for a view, obviously this is a great place to go. Again, I like up high. That's fine. But you get that closer look at the water. And the doors here, I'm gonna switch up a little bit. Sometimes the doors work. Sometimes you had to actually pull them yourself. So I say that again because if you have mobility issues, that may be something that you fight with, is the doors and how those are working. Because that was I would say an issue. I mean, I can move just fine in that regards, and it worked for me. But it may not work for you if say like you're in a wheelchair or a walker or something like that. So I do want to walk around the ship here and kind of show you the full view. And the area that's up here is not like on the Radiance class to where you've got the helipad. This is equipment. This is how they're tying down the ship, anchoring it. Walking through this area, again, is just more of a way to get to the other side. It doesn't give you that pretty view. On the back, though, it does. So if you're going to come up onto this level, other than walking around, if you were already over here, there's really nothing to see that's going to be up front. And so, but again, the ship's not real wide, so I'm ready to show you the other side pretty much right away here. And again, it's they got the portholes, and the way they do this, it's pretty easy to get your own porthole if you're just trying to get away from everybody and stand, but they don't have the seats, what I wish they had, whereas on the back they did have some. And then one side is smoking, one side's not smoking. So if you smoke, that's a good thing. If you don't smoke, then you kind of have to pick your side if you have respiratory issues or if you just don't want to smell smoke. But I really like those chairs, those first hit we passed. I use those a lot. A lot of times when I would be getting into port just after dinner and being solo, if I wanted to call home, that's usually where I parked myself to do that. So I had on this cruise the internet that I had gotten, and I was able to, again, call home and keep in touch with everybody. In those seats, there was never anybody around me to worry. I mean, really not bugged at all once. So a place to keep in mind. Whereas when you obviously get closer to the doors, you're going to have more people in and out that are going to select those areas. The point that I'm out here, again, the ship, when I'm doing this part of the video, we are at sea, and there's still, I mean, it's a beautiful day. And so what you're seeing is how busy it is while you're at sea on this portion of the video. It's just, there's just underutilized area. And so I hear a lot of people talk about, well, there's no place to get away. And if you're watching this, hopefully one thing you glean is that there are plenty of areas to go that are just not being used. You may walk by there and think, oh gosh, this must be busy, and so you're not going to try it. Whereas again, I'm telling you, day couldn't have been any nicer than what it was. The temperature's absolutely perfect outside, and it's not that busy. It's just not that busy. I hope you enjoyed the walkthrough, and I always appreciate everybody that watches and subscribes and shares the videos. It means a ton to me. Thank you so much for watching. We are just about done. But again, if you would take the time to like and subscribe if you haven't already, comment any feedback you got. This is information that I genuinely want. I'm trying to get better at this, and some constructive feedback can go a long way to making what I do better. Because if you guys aren't watching, there's no point in me putting this out. I try to do it, again, as a helpful thing for people that are interested, and try to do it in a way that maybe others haven't done with the extra commentary. I see a lot of people will put music in here and fill it in, and I tried that for a bit, and it just seemed like a lot of extra work for something that I realized when I was watching other people's videos that I just didn't care about. So that's why I really got away from doing that here. But I do want to leave you here as I'm heading towards the back. The back of the ship is absolutely gorgeous. It's one of our favorite places to go. So you'll want to see this part of it, but I also want to make sure before we got here that I let you know just how much you mean to me. And thank you again for watching. I will see you in the next video, which I will hopefully have up here in the corner, and you can take a look at that and click on that and hopefully get another great experience. Thanks for watching. Sit in one of these chairs, enjoy your view, and have a wonderful day. Thanks. Bye.